Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment. All right, Frid, episode 75. Can you believe it? We have done 75 of these episodes. Well, with the global launch of Marvel Future Revolution imminent, coming just a few days away, we're going to focus almost the entire episode on Marvel Future Revolution. And there are still a ton of things to talk about in Marvel Strike Force. The blog post didn't have much, but there is still a lot going on in the game, so we will continue to cover that. But we felt like it was time to kind of dedicate more time to this game, particularly with the global launch. To quickly cover some Marvel Strike Force things, I want to talk about some stealth changes not listed in any of the blogs and just kind of showing up in the game. First and foremost, I've already posted this in Discord. We are seeing significantly higher points earned per blitz match for our highest teams. So I used to only get to about 94, maybe 95. I was really stretching it. Now we're seeing over 100K. We are assuming this is related to the level cap increase and your opponents, as always, getting to cheat and be a higher level than you. So it'll be interesting to see if that is taken into account in future blitz polls and blitz numbers. But Fred, did you happen to notice this?
I did notice it with a Black Order match, and they're not my highest, but I did see the 100, the triple digit for the first time. I was like, oh, that's what Creative was talking about, that there's something going on with blitz.
Yeah, I've seen 103, maybe 104, which is crazy high. So 10,000, and if you're really blitzing, which we're not doing, that times 24, that adds up pretty quick, fast. It's actually more than that. But just thought I'd share that. So again, we'll see if that impacts blitz predictions. Hopefully that just means we all get to blitz less. But so it looks like level 85 is in the game, or at least in the blitz for the opponents, but not the tier 16 yet. The other thing is, after the patch update, PvP had something missing. And that was the tech and support bans that were basically getting rid of Kestrel. We all had a reprieve for a grand total of a few days. So for whatever reason, the origin and role bans that were listed in the roadmap and maybe some other places appear to have disappeared. So maybe Scopely forgot to put that into the patch and they can't manage code versions, which we've seen in the past, or this is just a rotating thing that sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Who knows? But I thought before at least prevented Kestrel from taking over. What do you think about that one, Fred?
When I saw this, what I thought it was a joke that they banned tech support at Scopely, and that's why they have so many problems.
I hadn't heard that one.
Because they can't even, their computers don't work or something. But I to be honest, I'm not sure. This is a problematic mode, as we talked about, so I want to see what they're going to do about it. It appears that it takes less time with the changes, because all you have to do is win a couple, but I didn't pay attention to where they were going or what's going on. They need to do something meaningful, so I don't know. It seemed to rotate faster too, right?
Yeah, it was changing like every day, so
every other day, so
okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, we thought we would share that, see we'll all wait with bated breath as to what will happen with our favorite game mode, PvP. All right.
I like this next one.
Yeah. And so this next one, I just happened to see someone post this on Reddit. They basically said, you finally broke Valley Flying, Scopely. And of course, we've been talking that he's been getting saltier and saltier. But you should go out to YouTube. You should check out a video called Rage Video, and this is where he was doing his usual purchase the character, open red stars, and then do a little bit of leveling up and using the character. You want to skip forward to minute 9 or so of the video, and that's when he starts trying to open red stars. And let's just say we have all had this experience, but to see Valley Flying this frustrated with that typical experience was it was pretty shocking, but also pretty entertaining. And I'd also
Yep.
say most players don't have 10 plus elite, red star orbs of different varieties to open. And so we all have been screwed many a time over by this.
Yeah, it was it was funny. I don't think he's used the bleep thing as much ever in any of his videos. But I think I shared when I was opening mine a similar experience with Ravager Bruiser and
Oh,
some
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Riot Guard, or it was like all minions. So anyway, watch it. I think you'll find it entertaining. And he's Mr. Positivity, but he couldn't maintain. He completely broke.
Yeah, I think his kids were at school too, so that gave him an excuse to really let loose. All right, well, yeah.
It was like Mr. Hardgrave was in Valley Flying's body or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, well, that's it for our Marvel Strike Force news. And so, in my typical fashion, I started writing down tons and tons of things for Marvel Future Revolution. And as typically happens, I have about 20 pages or like 20 shows worth of content. I don't plan on doing this and sitting here for 4 hours. So we talked about how we're going to break some things down over a couple episodes. Some of the topics that I want to cover today is just all the things that boost your character's stats. So all the types of gear and mods and all that kind of stuff. I want to talk a little about the campaign and some tips around the campaign and the questing. And then in future episodes, we'll start going through the different battle modes, partnering with alliances and those types of things. But for today, we're going to focus on the gear and the stats. And I am going to record my screen here and may post it out to YouTube if I feel like it's just too hard to explain. But with that, and so Frid, you haven't played as much as me, but you certainly played a good bit. If I miss anything or if you find something interesting, I'm sure others will as well. So feel free to interject and add some detail.
Can we do something for everybody? Like, what is it that you're going to talk about? Gear, I get it, but what's the game? At least a 2-minute explanation of what this game is?
Yeah, I mean, we did it a little bit in a previous episode, but that's good. We are focusing on this game. So first and foremost, this is not a hero collector turn-based game. This is more of a MMO type game. They say it's open world, but I would actually say it's more like zones that you do. But in this game, you really play as a character, as you would for Guild Wars or Warcraft, World of Warcraft, or maybe in like a Battle.net game like Diablo. You have a character, you run through zones, you do a variety of quests, you get better and better gear, and you level up your character with more abilities and skills, and then you have all sorts of gear that makes you stronger and stronger. So in more comparison to an MMO or RPG type game, the IP of course is Marvel. So you have a lot of Marvel characters. This is very focused on the hero side of the story. So you don't play as any of the villains, and you have the characters of Captain Marvel, Captain America, Black Widow, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Storm and Star-Lord. At least at this stage, there is talk of Falcon and Scarlet Witch coming, but we'll see what happens at global launch and thereafter.
You miss Mr. Peter Parker, who's also
thank
there.
you, Spider-Man. I knew I was going to forget somebody, so thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So I mean, is that enough of a background?
Yeah, like you play one at a time. It's not a team. You can team up when you're playing the game, like with others, but for the most part and there's an alliance, and you talk about all that, but you could kind of play the game and you're running around a world, killing mobs, killing stuff, and collecting items for the one character, which is a little bit different than the Marvel Strike Force.
Sure.
So just want to put that out there so people know.
Very different games, but good way to start.
Expect.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so where do I start with this?
Yeah, so there is, when we started this game, there's one thing after another. There's a steep learning curve in terms of all of the different types of stat bonuses. So first and foremost, you actually can go into your character screen and select their power and level and see all of their different stats. And so you can see their attack, their defense, and hit points. And you'll have a total in white, and then you'll have a yellow that comes from all of the different types of things. And so on the left side, you can see all of these things, which is just, it feels like a ton to me. You have your costume, which is, you think of traditional gear. You have battle badges, which is kind of another type of gear. Titles, which is really gained from leveling multiple characters. Potential is a whole nother set of stat bonuses. Your squad power, which is your overall level in the game. Each individual character has a level, but you have squad power. You have Omega cards. Your alliance specializations is then a whole nother thing. So there's a ton of different mechanics all weighing in on your stats. So let's start talking about these kind of one by one. So if you're looking at your character, you go into your character, the first thing that everybody always thinks up is your traditional gear. In this game, it is called costumes. There are 4 slots. It's either, each character is a little bit different, but a lot of them have a headpiece or a torso type piece of gear, some legs, some boots, and then gloves or a handheld weapon like a shield or a gun. So there's really 4 slots that are each unique. You can't mix and match. You can't put 2 headpieces on as an example. And so those 4 pieces of gear give you the most stats as you get to the end game. And so let's talk about how do you get this gear. And you get it from all over the place. You get it from completing quests. You get it from doing special operations, which is a game mode. Blitz, another game mode. Daily objectives. If you finish all those, you get a box which gives you stuff. And where else? I think that's the best places that you get the gear. The other piece is you can actually craft gear, and we'll talk about the dumpster fire that is crafting. And so from the crafting perspective, there is a workshop in the game, and that's basically your standard utility box where you go and you can make things. And ultimately, we have found that early on, the first week of the game, the drop rates were a heck of a lot better than they are now. In today's world, you have a huge RNG element to this, and the vast majority of the time, you are not going to get anything good. The vast majority of the time, you will get 1-star gear, and what people are really looking for is called regional gear, and it has a glowing kind of aura behind the piece, and that tells you it is better stats. So it's a little bit better gear than the other gear. But the chance of you getting anything from the workstation is next to 0. I have been doing it every day for quite some time, and I have gotten diddly squat. So what this really comes down to, though, is it's fodder for upgrading what you do have. And so the workshop is something that we'll talk through in a little bit more detail, but you are very constrained. I think you can do 2 pieces a day, and you're really constrained by something called sin particles, which you only get from special operations. And this is one of the big nerfs, is that you have to use more of it now, and you can only get so much of it per day. So that's, really quick. You can craft. It's very rudimentary crafting at this stage. You just go pick a generic region and see if you actually get something you would like.
So it's totally random what will come out, right? You can't craft.
No, you cannot.
Specific piece.
Yes, that's a very, very frustrating aspect. Is normally you can get recipes and craft towards something specific. This, it is one. You like the chance to get a regional piece is not even 1%. I think it's like 0.002% or something crazy. So it is completely random out of a huge selection of different things, depending upon which region you're selecting. The other thing is enhancing, and really what that is doing, again, very expensive to enhance, but you basically are taking one piece of gear and you're selecting to enhance it, and you have to have 5 other pieces of gear at the same level, and then finally you get to increase that, So you need 6 pieces of gear to increase your star level on 1 piece of gear. And so the math on this gets pretty darn crazy really quick. So to upgrade 1 piece of gear from 1 star to 2 star requires 6 pieces. To upgrade 1 piece of 2 star gear to 3 star, you need 5 other pieces of 3 star. Well, that's the equivalent of 36 1-star pieces. And this again is what you're typically getting from loot boxes and crafting and other things. And so the math is only getting worse. To upgrade 1 piece of gear to 4 stars, that's the equivalent of 216 1-star pieces of gear. That is insane. So to get 4 pieces of gear to 4 stars is 864 pieces of 1-star gear and additional mats and gold and all this kind of stuff. To get just 1 piece of gear to 5 stars requires 1,296 1-star pieces of gear. Now, I will say that sometimes you do get a 2-star or 3-star drop from some from the crafting or from some of the loot boxes. You do have a monthly character that provides 2 pieces of 3-star gear and 1 piece of 5-star gear per month. But it is taking way too long. This particular mechanic I find very, very frustrating. You can spend the in-game currency, which is crystals, and you can get a guaranteed 3-star or better drop. But that has been proven to show pretty low results. But if getting a 3-star piece of gear, it still saves a massive amount of stuff. So to me, this is probably one of the very most frustrating things. I haven't gotten any regional gear from a lot of crafting, and it is taking quite a while. And I have a grand total of 2 pieces of 5 yellow star gear. One of those came from the monthly calendar.
So this part sounds to me like the ISO, more like the crystals, kind of like that exponential. You need to feed it a lot, but I don't know that you get as many, and there's no way to farm these. But I guess there is, but the workshop is one way, and whatever you get from just doing missions and stuff.
Yeah, you get 4 or 5 from doing the most wanted. You get some from sometimes from the blitzes, certainly from special officers. You get a lot of it per day. When I say a lot, maybe like 9 or 10 pieces, but still, when you need to accumulate 1,200 of these, that's a bit absurd. So that mechanic is a little crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
So a couple of important points on gear, and particularly as you go through the game, you will receive you will receive 1 piece of regional gear when you finish each of the different campaign zones. And so again, you will get 1, but it's always going to be the same. So you're always going to get headpieces traditionally, I think is what it is. And again, it'll have a glowy background. It'll say regional costume or region costume. So you do want to save those. Really only 1 of those out of all 5 of the different zones you get is going to be what you want. There's always very clearly, 1 best set, particularly for the DPS classes. So don't throw that away. Don't chunk it. You want to save those pieces of gear.
Can you upgrade the regional with regular items?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. You use the same standard gear. Same standard math applies to that. You don't have to have a regional piece to upgrade regional. Any 1-star or any gear of the equivalent star rank will upgrade regional gear as well.
So another thing, and it has nothing to do with the stats, is that the look changes, right, with these gear pieces. So that's why it's like a costume / gear. So you can change your look by doing this.
Yeah, so you can as you collect more pieces of gear, you can get more customizations of how you look. And the important thing is the look of your character can be completely segregated from the actual gear you have as well. And there are, oh my gosh, I mean, look at this. There's 20 different pieces or different looks that you can go with, and there's different kinds of themes that you can all collect. So anybody that's a collector and wants to look really, really cool with the gear, you can pick whatever gear you want. And again, and that's one of the things, you don't have to worry about it you looking stupid because you got this piece of gear that's the better gear. So that is a nice feature, that the look of it is completely segregated from the actual upgrade of the gear.
And the other thing I remember, I don't know if you were going to get to this, is that there seems to be bonuses for completing a specific set.
Yes.
Which, if you're familiar with Diablo, that was a concept there where there's a tag of some kind for each of these pieces, and once you complete 2, 3, 4, you get like extra bonuses.
Correct. And so from the gear, again, there's 4 pieces. If you have all 4 sets, you typically have one skill or a collection of skills that gets at least 4 or more levels higher to it. So that means it does a lot more damage. What I find is, again, you're going to get a 5-star piece of gear from the monthly calendar. At this stage, unless you have regional gear, just keep equipping whatever is best. The overall damage increase by putting a better piece of gear on is much better than the having the 4th piece and having one skill out of all 5 of them that you use every 20 seconds. Using all of your skills at much more higher damage is still a lot better, particularly if you're upgrading to like 4-star to 5-star. But you can, and there's a ton of different sets. There's really one for each different skill. And then the regional, of course, has a whole different flavor to that as well. Okay. I think we've covered everything from a traditional gear or costumes perspective. So let's talk next about badges. And so badges, I couldn't think of a good equivalent of it, but it's basically, another gear slot that you equip. And ultimately, your badges, and there's a lot to cover here. I think Casino actually did a video too, if you want to go watch that or read on it. But ultimately, when you get a badge, it is for a particular slot. So you will see Battle Badge 1, and that can only go in spot number 1. Battle Badge 2 can only go in spot number 2. So you will, and this is all RNG. There's a lot of RNG to this game. So if you get an upgrade, you have to get better than the individual slot that you have today. But ultimately, these are broken out by attack versus defense. Most of them will give you critical damage, critical rate, attack. You can get health, defense, the debuff resistance, cooldown, health recovery, stamina recovery, which is their kind of version of mana. So these badges you really get from a few different places. You get the badges from killing anything in the game. You get low-level badges. Ultimately, you want to focus on gold and then red badges. Those are the highest quality badges. You get those really from Blitz, so that particular game mode, and we can go into that in future episodes. And you also can get it from PvP credits from Omega War and other places. And there's a loot box where you get some badges there. So those best badges really come from Omega War and then also from Blitzes.
So I see this 6 spots for badges, and you're saying there's no rhyme or reason. They could all be like health, or
no. So there's definitely some slots are definitely defensive slots. Some slots are definitely more offensive. So there's categories of what the stats in the various slots can be. Again, at least 1 or 2 of them are defensive focused, but it's 6 different slots. And the game will kind of can auto equip for you to put the highest level badge. And most times you're going to be you'll start out with gray, and then you get green, and then purple, gold, and then red. So if you see a red one, count yourself lucky. Those were stealth nerfed in the last patch. There's a lot more to badges, but also, again, you get these from Blitz, and the characters on the badges are the character that you beat to get them. And then the PvP focused badges, they'll give you more damage for PvP or things like that. Those you get from playing another mode, which is called Omega War, which is PvP mode. Again, we'll go into modes later on.
So instead of going with like an amulet, like a ring or I don't know, belt or whatever, they went with or a necklace. They went with this route. But would you say it's kind of equivalent?
Yeah,
Somewhat.
it's like that. And these are by far the most transferable thing in the game between characters. These have nothing that is specific to the character, whereas the costumes are 100% specific, specific to a Doctor Strange, to a Captain America, etc. But the battle badges, 100%, you can plop one off one character and plop it on the next, and you'll get all of the stat benefits from them. So these are by far one of the most beneficial, and they are the second highest boost to your stats as you approach the late game.
Okay. Are there, I guess, one last question. Level cap on what you can wear, like in some games, in order to wield the Eye of Agamotto or whatever, you need
Yes.
to be level 100. Otherwise, you can't put this on, even if you get it.
Yes, that is probably the good point. That these are the only thing when we talk about all these different pieces of gear. These do have a level on them, and they come from the blitz that you run. So the Laufey blitz is a level 90. Those badges will have level 90, and your character has to be level 90. So it is important if you're going to run multiple characters to save your level 20, level 30, level 40 badges that are, again, maybe purple, but definitely gold and red for your alts. So definitely do that. But that is the one limitation on these, that there is a level cap to them. You have to be of the level. The other thing I would just mention is that these also are a set. So when you get to the highest level in the game, level 100, you can run a blitz for Maestro. And in those badges that have his face on them, they are all part of a set. And so if you get 6 Maestro badges, you will get additional supervillain damage. Ultimately, though, it's not going to be that much more. You really want to still continue to go with the best badges you can get. And then the last component to badges is that there is a component of mods to badges, and that is cores. And so cores are basically a mod that you can equip and unequip from different badges, and they come in different colors. Red is very focused on attack, so attack or critical rate or critical damage. Blue is defensive, either health, defense, or dodge. Yellow is more focused on health. I think I screwed that up. So blue is defense or dodge. Yellow is health or health recovery. And then green is, I think, crit and defense pierce. But those, you'll typically only your higher level badges or your golds badges will have, gold and red and some purple will have a slot for you to install the mod, which is called a core, into it. And you can have up to 2 slots for each badge. And again, that's the higher quality badges that will have the 2 slots.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I noticed this. The first ones you get don't have any of this. And then
Yes.
as you progress, you get some with 1 spot, and then you get some with 2 spots. And then you add little, almost like runes to it, these cores that give it a boost.
Yep.
But these runes are not that complicated, right? There's 4 kinds, and they're star levels, I guess.
Yeah, there's star levels to the various mods, and guess what? You get to do the same thing. You combine low-level ones to upgrade the star. It's only 3 that you have to combine to upgrade a star rank, but I will say as you get to higher star ranks, I think it's above 4, that you actually may not upgrade. It becomes a chance to upgrade. So a lot of people don't even upgrade to 6 stars, I think it is, or is it 5? I forget which one, but the chances for an upgrade start dropping. And then there's a lot of weird mechanics to it. You could pick 3 green ones to combine and actually get a blue one. So there's some really feels bad RNG elements to the upgrades of cores. But ultimately, it's a whole nother boost of stats, so you want to do that. You'll get these cores from special operations, battle challenges, the monthly calendar, and some other places as well. But that is another big boost to your stats. Any questions there before I go on, Fred?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Can you? Let me ask you this: could you have different configurations or looks saved if you want to change it up? Like, is there anything like that, or you just come in and pick your look manually?
Well, the costume's separate from badges. Badges don't give you a change of look. Is that what you're referring to?
No, no, I was talking about the costumes. If I had the various looks, is there a way to save those so that you can quickly change your look and feel?
Yes, you can save different varieties, but you can favorite them and you can have different looks. I think it's 4 different looks that you can do. But we're talking about stats, not fancy threads here. So
Oh, you
let's.
gotta you
I'm
gotta
worried
look
about
good.
killing things while you're prancing around, worrying about looking good. But yes, you can save different looks. You can just like you can save different versions of skills. You can also save different versions of your gear in terms of costumes and battle badges. So if you want to save one for PVE
Yeah,
content versus PvP,
that's you're
you can do
getting to
that.
that's what I was talking about.
Yes,
But
yes.
is there you think it'd be hard to have enough to be able to be fancy like that and say, hey, I have 10 5 stars, so I can have the PvP version. I guess eventually, right?
Well, so battle badges definitely you get PvP focused badges, and that will give you PvP bonus damage as an example. So for that, you would definitely look at that. Plus, you could be running a different set of skills, and so you might want gear that is more focused on those particular skills for a PvP front. So those absolutely at the high end of the game, people will run completely different sets of gear for and skills and badges and cards, which we'll get to next for PvP versus PvE content.
Yeah, I'm barely scraping by, so I wouldn't worry about that. But yes, I guess you can do it eventually.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I can, but I'm too lazy at this stage, and some of the PvP stuff is not my strong suit or not my favorite thing.
All right.
Okay, other things that benefit your stats is titles. And so, what the heck is a title? Well, as you level a character higher up, you will get more and more titles. So, when you get to, say, level 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, you will have the opportunity to have different titles. And this is a standard thing in a lot of MMOs. If you go kill this bad guy over here, you could be, the bad guy killer. But you get a lot of different titles just by going through the different levels. That is another moderate boost of stats. It's not huge, but yet another piece of stats there.
Question here is you only need to collect the title, right? You don't have to
equip it.
equip it. Yeah, you equip whatever you want, but you get the bonus from what you have accumulated. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, and so from the title perspective, you can choose different ones, but it's really about collecting them, and as you get more titles, you get more stat bonuses from those. And that's underneath squad and then title. And so I've got 64 of the 103 because I have 3 characters that are at 100, and the others are kind of middle of the road at this stage. But doing those 64 characters, it gives me another 1,000 attack, another 1,000 defense, another 8,000 hit points. So it's not huge, but it's a nice little benefit, particularly as you level more characters. That gives you bonuses. So the other one is your squad. And so squad is, think of it as your overall level. You can have an individual character at level 1, another character at level 10, another at level 100. But overall, you have a squad or collection of characters, and that squad also gives you a series of stats and bonuses. And so that's a nice, another moderate level there. You get squad rank by leveling up characters, and every 10 levels or so you get more bonuses to that. You get it from a whole plethora of different places, but a lot of it's the leveling up of characters and a few other locations as well.
So the squad it's like global bonuses for your account almost.
Yes.
Like you as a player, no matter what character you're playing, these bonuses will help across the board.
Yes, and so this is one of the good things, if you will. Like in other MMOs, when you level one character up, you're kind of doing it on your own. You level the next character; it's very dependent upon his gear. WoW and some other games introduced kind of a legacy, or I forget what they called it. Not legacy, but some kind of, you could buy a weapon that will level with the character, and so it'll make you go through it faster. This is this game's version of helping you level faster with additional characters. Okay, and you get additional bonuses across different categories, attack, armor, and health and things like that as you level up. What else? What else? There's so many different things in here. I want to try and cover them all at least some basic level. So we need to talk about potential. And this is, I think, one of the people in Discord asked, what are some of the things that you can't reverse? And so enhanced potential is one of those things. You do not get enough enhanced potential to level up all the different categories. So there's 4 different categories that you unlock as you progress with a particular character. You get potential, enhanced potential all the way through. And within those 4 categories, there are 3 different stats that you can buff. Well, first and foremost, you cannot undo what you have done, and you will not get anywhere near enough to fill all of the different options, at least leveling one character up. Over time, you can continue to buy this and get it, but it's very, very slow going. I've heard that some people don't spend any of the enhanced potential, level a character up to 100, delete the character, and then level another, level another. And you'd have to do that, the same character 4 times or maybe 8 times. I never got a good story on that. To get enough enhanced potential to level this all up, which I think is it's kind of absurd. So that is one thing you want to be very careful on. You may want to actually save it once you get more comfortable with the character, what benefits them. For some of your damage dealers, cooldown is very important, attack is very important. For Spider-Man, everybody loves to go like all dodge because there's one, you can't hit the guy, and then 2, he has some specialization that turns dodge into damage. Another would be Captain America has, I think it's a specialization that turns defense into damage as well. So there's a lot of complexity under the covers to some of the in-game stuff. So be careful spending enhanced potential. And of course, be careful about if you're upgrading or enhancing your gear. You lose those pieces of gear that you use to enhance. So make sure you don't do something you don't want to do with those things. So I just said a lot of stuff there, Fred. Anything maybe I need to say on enhanced potential?
Sounds like some good safety tips for people to be careful here in these screens and not just go sequentially, basically. Really think about what character you have, how you have them set up, what is it trying to do, and make sure you kind of focus the potential that you're enhancing to that kind of play style, as opposed to traditionally going linearly and just saying, okay, I'm just going to do level 1, then level 2, then level 3, because there's just not enough to get you there. So
okay. So we've talked a lot about different styles or gear and things. The last 2 are some of the more complex ones, and there's some RNG elements to those as well. The first being Omega cards. And we could spend 2 hours talking about Omega cards. I think let's cover it from some high level. First and foremost, you have 6 slots. So yet again, 6 badges, 6 Omega cards. They like the number 6. You have 6 slots that you will unlock over time where you can equip Omega cards. And these are yet another mod, if you will, that you earn. And you can earn these from a variety of different ways. First and foremost, every zone will have bosses and what they would call a prime boss. And they will randomly spawn periodically, and you get a big red skull over your screen and everything else. It's a prime boss, and you have a red skull over to the right side of your screen if it is in fact just kind of a normal zone boss. So killing them, you get cards from that. You can kill up to 7 bosses a day and get cards, and then you can kill 2 prime bosses a day and get cards from that. The prime bosses, when you fight them, the more damage you do affects your rank of who did the most damage. You get better rewards with more damage done to the prime bosses. There are a crap ton of cards out there. Ultimately, you really only care about a few things related to cards. You're really going to only focus on cards that have a number in the bottom left or bottom right. The number in the bottom left has the silver infinity sign and then a number underneath. That number is the set that they are in. So yet again, we have another item where you can equip a whole set of mods, and you get more benefits. So as an example, there's a New Stark City number 2 is a set name. It is the number 1 set, and that has 4 cards. If you install 2 of those, you get a defense bonus. If you install 4 of them, you get a 6% bonus to health. So these are completely RNG based in terms of what star rank you're going to get and which card you're going to get within a pool. So if you kill Kingpin or you kill Ultron, you're going to get cards related to that character. So you can actually do some direct farming. So Ultron has a card and Kingpin has a card that people go after. Red Skull has a couple cards that people go after. Ares is another character that has some cards that people go after. So you can target individual cards. You can select the card, and there's a little question mark when you select the card, and that tells you where you can get it. It typically tells you a zone and the sub-zone within it, and so you have to kill bosses in that zone to get those particular cards. So there's a lot to cards. There is, I think it's 12 sets that you have. The other place that you can get cards is an in-game mode called Dark Zone. There you have yet another set of 2 bosses you can kill and another 7 bosses that you can get, and you get yet more cards from that. Whew, let me take a breather there. So a whole nother set of mods, a whole nother set of sets to manage.
I have questions.
Yes.
Are these characters specific?
Yes. So, I showed you, as an example, the Kingpin cards. If you kill Kingpin, or really you kill bosses in New Stark City, that's where you will get this particular card to drop. So if you go kill Maestro, you're not going to get this Kingpin card, as an example.
What I meant was, when I get the card, is it only for Captain Marvel, or can I use it across characters?
So you can absolutely use cards across characters. There is a big caveat, though, that when you raise these cards up to the highest level, you will get a character-specific stat, and that will be specific to the character that earned the card. So if I went pretty hard on Doctor Strange, got a really good card, upgraded the card, the stats bonuses, there's one of the stats, not all of them, but one of the stats will be specific to Doctor Strange. There's a capability of re-rolling the stats or upgrading it. I haven't done a whole lot of that, but you cannot re-roll that to another character. And that's a big thing that ticked off a lot of the early content creators for the game, because they went really hard on one character. They got a card that they really want to use on a different character, but not all of the stats will apply to the other.
Okay, so it's almost fully transferable, yes, except at the very top.
Yeah, okay. At the highest level, there's stats for that. So these also have star levels, and you will do the same activity as for other things. You will go and select a card, and you will need, yet again, 5 other cards, combining these to then upgrade the star level of an individual card. So the math is the same as the gear, and that means you need a whole lot of cards. You do get a ton of these a day. I forget the number off the top of my head, but still, the amount that you would need to upgrade 6 cards to 6 stars is crazy high. The only other thing, and again, this is really for people that spend money, maybe if you're really, really lucky in the in-game and late game, there is a second number in the bottom right. And this is yet another RNG element. This is the quality of the card. The higher the number, the higher the quality, which means the better the stats. And so, you can get different levels of cards in quality, common, special, rare, I think. And then you get this RNG. So there's a lot of RNG to this game. And I've seen people try and get a particular card and go spend lots of money and never get an upgrade. So I would be wary about spending money on cards, but I've heard that is one of the better places to spend your cores and or some of your money, because some of the high-end cards, particularly the quality levels, you will not get unless you spend money.
Okay, so are the stats bonuses standard across these, or are they random? Like if I have what is this, Star-Lord, or this Vote Loki, let's say I have that, would it have the same bonuses that I see here, critical damage, or does it depend on when I pull it what I get?
I'm trying to think about that one. I know I've got some duplicate cards somewhere. Let me go to my card storage. Oop, wrong thing here. Let me go look real quick. I think the stats are set, at least the top stats. The bottom stats are definitely RNG elements to them. So you can, the top main stats that you have are set, but the rest are definitely RNG based. But let me look at something really quick just to show you. I don't have anything. Oh, here we go. So this card over here is a Red Skull card. I have a PvP bonus damage increase, and here is your Doctor Strange cooldown. But the critical damage at the top, this will be standard. These will be the second and third stats will be RNG based. So if we click over here on, and it disappeared, of course. Where did it go? This guy, you'll see, oh, no, this is different. This is total damage. So yes, so I think the stats at the top are set when you upgrade levels, but all of the bonus stats, exclusive stats, those are going to be RNG based.
Goodness gracious. Okay.
Yes. So there is RNG upon RNG upon RNG upon leveling up that you have to do. And I get that people say, well, it's an MMO, you're supposed to grind. But some of this feels a bit excessive. So I am hoping that some things change come global launch. I understand they released the game a certain way, but you know, the level of RNG, the level of collecting that you'd have to do, you'd have to play this game for like 5 years to get to the highest level. So it's a little crazy. So there's some specific skill cards that are a good set, particularly for PvP. I'm just going to post some of that stuff in Discord. It's a little too much detail to get into today. All right, so that was a whole lot of stuff, and I still have not. Yeah.
There is one thing that I think you should cover. So you're collecting all this stuff, and you can combine it in some cases, but you start filling up your bag or inventory.
Yes.
And what are you supposed to do then in that case?
Yeah, so there's two things, and we'll probably talk some more at length and maybe some other episodes about, you know, where best to spend the in-game currency, which is the crystals. One of the things I would definitely recommend is expanding your inventory. I'm not sure I would recommend on an individual character. You have a squad inventory or storage. I would definitely recommend increasing the number of slots there. You can spend a few cores, you know, it's very cheap, 40, 50 cores or something like that to expand the squad storage. So I definitely recommend doing that. And then ultimately, if you really do like a character, you're going to focus on one character, I would expand the slots on that particular character as well. So you can do that. But the short answer to you is you have an inventory. You can expand the slots there, and if you start running out, you can start loading things into the squad storage as well.
Okay.
Good question. Okay. And then the last thing, which I still have not done really a whole lot on, is called specialization. And so this is your typical MMO skill tree that you kind of get to pick. It is incredibly unforgiving, meaning that you can spin these and you can't unwind them. So there is no unequip or get the stuff back. There is a god-awful amount of these different skills. And so I have seen some whales that have almost all of these skills maxed out, or not maxed out, but at least all of them filled, which is just crazy. And so this is absolutely the in-game content. There are bigger boxes on the specialization tree that give you better benefits. And so you get through some of the smaller ones to get to the bigger ones. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of depth here. I will just tell you two main things. The currency for this is called anti-conversion, and that is garnered from a game mode called raids. When you run raids, you can actually, similar to Marvel Strike Force, you can kind of refresh the node, if you will, or, spend some of the in-game currency to get the rewards again. And so a lot of people do that 3 times a day. So you get the anti-conversion, because getting it is a very, very slow grind. The other thing is find friends that can do raids at higher levels. The higher level you do, the more of the anti-convergence you get. There is also, yet again, an RNG element to this.
So I wanna
Yeah.
give you a break from talking for a second,
Yeah.
but just to let our listeners know, Creative has said that he goes kind of crazy and all in these games when they come out, and for many other circumstances, I have not gone as hard, and the way I've been playing, which comes on and off, I haven't even gotten to this point yet. Just to let you know that some of this stuff could take a bit, and it's more end game.
Yes.
So I don't even have this raid or this specialization unlocked, so I can't even see it just yet.
Yeah.
Just to let you know.
And so we'll go into game modes later on, but raid is the typical the game mode. I don't know what level you unlock it is. It comes around later on, and it's a lot of the same boss fights. That's one of the things, they recycle a lot of boss fights. But you can run the raids multiple times by using cores. You can do it at a higher level of difficulty, and you get yet more convergium. So thankfully, I'm in a pretty in-game alliance, and I have people that don't mind carrying me because I cannot do the highest level ultimate. It is pretty insane. So go ahead.
That triggered something.
Yeah.
This carrying concept.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? I know it's a little off topic, but does it exist here? Like, if I'm brand new or behind, can I tag along with you and you can help me sort of progress? Is that a thing or no?
Well, let's talk about the campaign a little bit, and we'll kind of weave that in. So for specialization, we just kind of leave it there. There's a lot of complexity to that. I've intentionally not spent a whole lot of my currency there because I don't think I'm going to focus on Doctor Strange, the first character that I leveled through. But from a campaign perspective, and kind of leveling up, there is no cheat mechanic, if you will, like in other game modes where you can teleport your buddy to the end of the game and then go kill things for him, go kill a bunch of mobs for him, and get a ton of experience. You really have to progress through the main storyline, through the different zones that are in the game to be able to progress. With that being said, though, killing mobs does not give experience. You can't go run some specialized dungeon and get experience. You really have to do questing. What you can do, though, is have a buddy that is a higher level go to wherever you are on the map. You can party up, and that tells you kind of where you are. You can see each other on the map, and you can have that buddy kill things for you, and it'll go a whole lot faster. One of the tips I would definitely recommend is most people may be starting out and don't have any high-level friends. Plus, it is a very manual experience that you have to, the friend that's helping you out has to kind of run around and follow you and kill things. But what I would say is definitely wherever you go, look for other people playing in the same area. If you can party up with them, that's fantastic because you don't even have to be close to each other. They can kill things on the other side of that particular map and you'll get credit. The other thing is, even if you don't party up, as long as you make one hit on an enemy, you will get credit for when it dies. So this is unlike some other games where you have to be the one that hits it first to be able to claim the rewards or to be the last to kill it. So none of that applies. All you have to do is be killing things or hitting things that other people are killing. So number one, when global launch happens, hopefully there's going to be a lot of players. There's going to be a lot of people running around. Go ahead and hit everything you can. Party up with people, or just go hit everything that other people are hitting, and it will go lightning fast. So I did Captain America, who's a little bit more of a grind. He's a little bit slower, and I just go around hitting my basic, hitting everything, and people kill everything for me. So it's fantastic. The other things in terms of your question, again, it is a bit manual. But, you and I have done it a little bit. And so you kind of leave it in an area, running your quests, and I'll kill things for you. But there is no cheat. You still have to progress through the main quest line, which is purple. But did I cover your question?
Yeah, I do have another one. I know. Let me check on time, make sure we're not probably getting to the end here, but I think it'd be good to maybe like a cheat sheet or something, maybe something like homework assignment to um, for stuff that you earn as you go through. What are things that are shareable and not? Like, because I think it's different, right? Like when I badges, it sounds like you can share pretty easily, but then there's some other stuff that you can't. And you talked about this currency for specialization and all that. I mean, how much of that can you store and use um, across your characters versus not? I don't think you have to answer this right now, but it could be something that maybe like a cheat sheet that says, hey, here are all the resources, and could you use different characters to farm it, like squad rank, for example, versus no, this you can only get for your character. So make sure that you're using the character you want. I think that could be useful.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, so just to quickly give a quick answer and we can follow up. Costumes are specific to the character, but if you level a Doctor Strange and you delete him and you level a new one, you can pull over the costumes from the other. But it is specific to a character. Battle badges 100% transferable. We talked about that. Cards fully transferable, but there are some stats that are specific to the character that earn the card. Specialization, if you use it, you lose it, but the anti-convergium you can share, put it in your squad storage and use for anybody. And then there was something else that I was going to say. What was the other one? Anyway, I think that's quick answer, but we can do some more detail there.
Okay, cool.
So let's talk really quick about, I think, the last kind of real important thing just for new players, and that is questing. So as again, you can't go get a buddy to take you into some dungeon and kill everything in the dungeon for you to get you leveled up faster. You have to go zone to zone to do the quests to get to the main storyline, and that is really the key way of getting experience, and you also will get squad experience for that. There are 3 types of quests, or quest lines, if you will. Purple is the main storyline, so that gives you the overall story of the game, and you have to complete those to be able to proceed from one zone to the next. The other one that you will run into is yellow, and that's kind of a random guy that has a yellow bubble above his head, and you just go kind of run up to him, and he will give you a quest. Those are typically very short, one kind of quest element: go kill something, go pick up something, go talk to somebody. And those typically can give gold and sometimes some gear rewards. And then green is the other one that you have a ton of out there. And those are completely optional, but they give you a lot of experience and they give you a lot of gold. The important thing about the green quest is while they are optional, you still really need to do some of them. I think it's from Midgardia onward, you really need to do all of the green quests to be able to get to level 100. If you're doing all of the quests throughout all of the zones, you will actually hit level 100 before you finish the main storyline, which is really important. Once you reach level 100, you can max all of your skills, I think 4 or 5 levels higher. You need to save about 2 million in gold to do that. But that will allow you to be a bit stronger for the in-game boss fight. I don't want to ruin anything there. And that is a tough fight, so the better stats you have, the better. The other important thing about questing is that there's a lot of overlap between purple, yellow, and green. When you run to an area, you'll first have a purple quest. If you're just doing a purple quest and you don't have a green quest, go look around. Go a little to the outside of the edges of that area. Typically, you'll see a green quest that will overlap. Not in all cases. There are purple quests that you have to just do and there's no overlaps. But the vast majority of the time, there will be a green quest that has some sort of overlap, killing the same mob or killing them and getting some item from them. So go to a new area, explore it around to make sure you get purple, yellow, and green quests. Then you can put it on auto. You will still have to do quite a bit of clicking. So that's the other thing. We said that you put the game on auto and it plays for you, and it definitely goes and kills things for you, but you do have to accept quests. You do have to redirect to go finish one quest or the other, and then some things along those lines. So I just said a whole lot about questing. Frid, you've done plenty of this. Any commentary?
Yeah, that's the one thing that the auto, while it does a lot, you still need to interact with it and let it, tell it, okay, accept this quest. And then sometimes it does it, and then you have to claim the reward and then talk and kind of start the next one. So it's not a full automated walk away experience. You still have to keep an eye on it and push buttons as you go through. But I found the green ones go pretty quickly. And like you said, sometimes they overlap with the purple ones, so you can kill the things at once. But yeah, it's fairly automated if you just click on things and the character goes and does everything for you. So
okay. Yeah, some other tips is to make sure you stockpile healing potions. There's no healing class to the game. There's a little grocery cart kind of looking thing in the top right, and you would go to, that's the shop. You go to that and go to consumables, and you have different med kits or healing potions. Whichever level you are, whenever you start leveling, you'll get better and better potions that they give you more and more health. Make sure you stock up on those particularly if you're playing auto. It will automatically use those when you dip below a certain amount of health, and it keeps you alive. So stock up on healing potions, particularly when you get to later zones as it gets more and more challenging content. What else? The only last thing I would say is, we talked about partying up or killing kind of things together with other people. In terms of an individual player and skill, I'm not going to go into one character's skills versus the others, but a general tactic that I would tell you, you're going to get a whole bunch of different skills. You're going to get different masteries, which is kind of different flavors of the skill. You don't have to level all of the skills. You don't have to level all the masteries. You can pick which ones you're using, and you don't need to level each mastery to get to the next. So you can save a lot of gold by really only focusing on the skills that you want. And again, there's not a lot of build videos out there, but you can see a few that will give you recommendations of skills. But you can also just look at them. If one just does a moderate amount of more damage, it doesn't do any CC, you likely don't need it. I will tell you, at least half the skill versions you don't want to ever use. So just be careful about leveling those, the different masteries, and then leveling the ones you're not going to use. The other thing is, look for a combination of skills. So you get 5 different skills in an ultimate. Look for a skill that will first group up the mobs together, another one that will do some sort of stun or knock up, and then another that will do a big AoE. So that flavor of group them up, slow them down, and then AoE them is very, very effective, particularly when you're running quests. So look for skills that do that. And the other, of course, is if there's an ability that will give you health or regen stamina, those are other important ones to have as well. So I think we covered a whole lot of stuff. Again, I had about 20,000 pages of stuff, but I think giving this as the intro, I found the stats and all the different flavors of stat buffs across to be very overwhelming in the beginning. So I want to start there. I think next week we can talk about the different game modes. But Frid, any other pearls of wisdom? Anything I may have missed?
No, I think it's a good introduction, but again, it's going to be, when I first started and when you started, it's overwhelming how much stuff the game takes you through so quickly. So, you may want to, listen to this, then play for a little bit, then come back to it and review. And that's what I plan on doing to help myself, because I need to get organized and focus a little bit more on the game. And what I'm waiting for is for it to be actually launched on the mobile, because that makes it easier for me. I can't be at the PC too often to be able to do this. So, that'll be good. So that's next week. So it should be able to provide some more context as well. But I think the fact that we'll be at different levels is a good dynamic for the show. So,
okay. Yeah, the only other thing I would just kind of comment on, there's not really a great way of earning gold. A lot of games will have some kind of separate kind of professions or things that you can do to earn gold. Certainly, when you level up a character, as you do all of the daily game modes, you will earn a good bit of gold. You can get up to over 600,000 in gold if you're a late game player and you're doing progressing everything. One of the things that a lot of people do is leave the game on overnight. So I wouldn't do this on your phone, but if you have a PC, they leave the game on overnight. You sit in an area with a lot of characters or mobs that keep spinning up, and they run a basic macro that goes into their inventory, goes to the badges, because you keep getting a lot of these badges, and they disassemble the low grade badges. And if you do that every few minutes, you will get Convergium, which is a mat, and you'll get gold. So that's how a lot of you'll see some of the content creators and others doing that. And that's really, unfortunately, the only way right now. So I'm really hoping with global launch that they add some other capabilities beyond having the game run in the background overnight to get, 100,000s of gold.
Okay, that's interesting. Is there anything that we have heard about whether the company Netmarble is okay with that kind of stuff?
Well, it's definitely part of the game, because they have in here, there's a sleep mode that you can put it on. So I'm not, so I see all the content creators. I see a lot of people doing it, like half my alliance. They're still logged in all the time, and they're just running around getting gold. So I've not heard anyone say you can't do it. And the fact that they give you an auto button and they have a sleep mode, I don't see why, it's
Gotcha.
against terms and conditions. So I've been doing it quite a bit. Unfortunately, I've not had a lot of great connectivity to the server. So half the time I wake up and it will say, I'll wake up and the screen says, unstable connection, and I only got to run for a few hours. But you can earn 200,000+ overnight. I
guess this part of it may not be as competitive, because that's where you get into trouble, right? If it's a PvP type of situation, like, or you get some kind of advantage. I don't know. That we'll see what happens when it launches, if there's a problem with it, but hopefully not.
Okay.
All right. Good.
So Frid, the question. So we talked a whole lot about the game. I think we do need to spend a second talking about, do you like the game or not? So I'm going to let you go first. You haven't played as much as me, but what are your thoughts thus far?
I mean, I just need to spend more time with what is it that I want to do. I've been able to level up Captain America to like 65 or something, and then a couple others to 45 maybe, or 50, like Storm and Captain Marvel. And it's mostly been with auto and just clicking around. There are some in the campaign, you can't party up when it's a boss. You have to do it by yourself. And that's what normally slows me down until I kind of get the fight down. Normally involves running around and avoiding and then going in. I think it has a lot of potential for me to like this. It's very different than the MSF. But I think it can achieve some of the same, objectives in terms of collecting things and becoming more powerful and conquering content, just like that game. But it's not something I would say I'm like hooked and I need to come back to the PC and play all the time yet. But we'll see. I mean, if you remember Hearthstone, it was the same. And once it came out on mobile, it was like, okay, now that I can easily play wherever, it changed my perspective on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, from my perspective, I've played way too much of the game. I will say that we've already heard that, what we know now is not the end game, which is fully expected that they would be releasing content. So, I keep telling you there's two different games that you play. One is, getting your character up to level 100, and then there's the in-game grind. And so I talked about kind of the gear elements and all the RNG and how much you have to have. Running the same, 8 blitzes or whatever a day on auto, except for, one of them is not terribly exciting. But there are some, definitely some elements. One is I really like the characters. I really like the story, I like the gameplay. I think all of that's done very, very well. I don't like all of the RNG aspects, and then the, poor return on some of the investing. So I'm very worried about that, because to me, I won't play this game for years if those are the elements of how do I get to an end game. I'm not going to play this for 3 years so I can get one piece of 6 yellow star gear and all that. So I'm curious on how they're going to free up some of that. But the fact that we haven't seen the end game is interesting. The PvP side has definitely played a win. You'll run into a Mega War, and you can tell who is the million collection power person when you unload all of your burst damage on them and they have like a fourth of their health gone. So it'll be interesting how they balance things out, if they cater towards free to play at all or not. I don't mind spending any money on the game, but right now most of the offers are all RNG, or you're really not getting something very good. So I haven't spent any money, and then also I just don't like the server. I have heard, I've gotten confirmed through my alliance leaders that those that have started are locked to the Mega War or Mega server that we're on. So we cannot change servers. So that's an even better reason not to spend any money till we find a server that we're comfortable with. I'm just hoping that they upgrade this server once the game launches, because I don't have a terrible ping on it, but there are definitely some serious lag spikes at times.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I like the game. I've played a lot of the game. I'm interested very much on what comes next for the game, new zones and other things. But I've really, really enjoyed playing with it. This is more my type of game than, say, the Hero Collector. So it'll be interesting to see if Frid keeps up or can keep up and get to 100. But maybe we have a whole show focused on getting you to 100.
It'd be like my other show that I used to have. Yeah. Can you make me better? I think I can get there. It's just a matter of, having more access to it. And I think when it comes out on mobile officially, it'll be easier.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, I'm sure we went way over on time, and there was a lot of content that we just covered. So hopefully that made sense. I will definitely be posting some of my notes to Discord and sharing some more things. I'll probably create some additional channels over time as well. So hopefully this was helpful. Feel free to stop by. We do have at least one channel for this. Feel free to ask any questions, and look forward to seeing you all in game. And you can continue the conversation, as we mentioned, on Discord. You can also leave us a Apple Podcast review. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. Frid, anything else before we close out the show?
Well, we'd love to hear what do you think of us covering this game as well. If it's something that will turn you off or you're interested in. I think, again, it comes out next week, so I'm sure a lot of people that play Strike Force will give it a try. So just let us know using one of those methods.
Yeah. If our listeners don't want to listen to this, absolutely, we won't cover it. I just figured there was a lot of Marvel Strike Force people, or at least content creators, showing it. I've seen every one of them in it. But so if there's interest, we'll definitely cover it. If not, we certainly won't. So just let us know. That's a good comment. All right. Well, as always, stay safe, stay healthy.
We'll talk next week.